Welcome back to Cinema Corner, and today we're going to talk about what we want to see from the Tom Holland, I guess you could say, Spider-Man in the MCU. Obviously, it's rumored he's supposed to have a trilogy. Obviously, that should happen, but who knows with everything going on. Writer strike, how long it'll even be until that actually happens. But assuming we get a Tom Holland trilogy, or another one, I guess I should say, this is kind of just our baseline of what we hope to see in that trilogy. And there's only one way to start out any type of video like this. Alex, thoughts?
So, this is my plan. If I had the choice of how I would run the Spider-Man trilogy or the next one coming up, I'm going to call it the College Spider-Man trilogy. So, this is what I overall want from it, right? Okay, so I love Zendaya, but we got to keep her out of it for at least a movie or two. That's kind of the basis I'm starting off from. No Way Home sets him up to be completely on his own, so I like it to keep it that way. Have him just go to college and be Spider-Man at the exact same time. Keep him mainly in New York. I thought it was neat for him to go to Prague and all those places, but I think we're done with that. We got to keep him in New York now. And then the final point that I had for the overall theme was don't be afraid to go more mature with it. He is in college. He has no family left. Literally show how depressing life is on his own with no family left. No one knows him. And he has to essentially start from scratch. So that's kind of what I want to hit on for what I want from the trilogy itself. And I don't know how in depth you guys are going to go, but I have the three movies set up here.
What?
So,
What does that mean? Yeah, give us.
Yeah, lay it out for
What's
us.
happening?
Lay it out,
All right, Kevin, go
director.
okay, so movie number one. No titles. This is just what I'm going to have, right?
Lame.
So
Gotta
for the
go
main
that
villain,
in-depth.
nah, not that in depth. The main villain I want for this first one, I'm thinking of having Mr. Negative be the villain for the first movie. Honorable mention for who I think could play him. I am choosing Donnie Yen. He's a Chinese actor. The character itself is a Chinese character. He is an older guy. He's in his, I think it's portrayed as like mid 40s, 50s. And he's around that same age. I wanted to set up like the Inner Demons, have them be, or the MCU's version of the Inner Demons, that whole gang, the gang that is run by Mr. Negative, have them have like a huge influence in New York from the start of the movie. After you can even spin it, have it be like after the blip, this gang has taken over and they're like the predominantly like that's what is in charge of New York at the moment, right? And then Spider-Man has to take him down because obviously they start to go too far. It starts in Chinatown and it spreads throughout the whole city. Peter has to take him down. Post-credit scene. It shows Vincent D'Onofrio, Kingpin, happy that Spider-Man got rid of the final gang in New York that was in his way. Because if you remember, after the blip, Kingpin no longer had the same influence he had prior to the blip. So that's going to be the post-credit scene. You show Vincent D'Onofrio happy that Spider-Man got rid of that final gang that was in his way on his rise to power once again. Leading me into movie number two, the main villain, Kingpin. You can introduce Black Cat here as like a mini antagonist. You can have her be like working for Kingpin. I feel like that could definitely work. But ultimately, you have her be like an ally, maybe even a love interest for Peter. Stay strong, Tom Holland. I saw that trailer that Zendaya put out, so we gotta have you winning. We gotta
Start fighting back.
Prayers
I
to
hit
prayers
back.
to
Prayers to him for sure. So basically, this next movie, Kingpin now runs New York after the Inner Demons disperse following Mr. Negative's, going to jail and all that. Kind of the same thing. Peter has to now take down Kingpin, and now you maybe even with Black Cat in like helping him. But I don't want him to get any help from any sort of like big time Avengers or any sort of those characters. I kind of want him mainly to stick on his own and only really introduce like Spider-Man-esque characters. So only ones that he normally deals with. Black Cat being one of them. Movie number 3.
No post-credit scene.
You finally. Oh, thank you. The post-credit scene. You bring back the symbiote from No Way Home. You finally bring it back. I feel like we definitely need a break from that. So you give it at least 2 full movies without that symbiote suit, and then you introduce the symbiote back at the end of that movie. And then for movie number 3, obviously you have the symbiote suit. Have Peter just go absolutely like berserk on everybody, and have the main villain of this one be Kraven the Hunter, done properly, not whatever the Sony's doing right now. My choice. Now this one I'm actually kind of proud of. My choice for Kraven the Hunter is his name is Florian Munatu. He was the guy who played Victor Drago in Creed 2.
Oh, well, he's already the Razor Fist from Shang-Chi, then.
Oh, was he in Shang-Chi?
Yeah, he was the guy with the, like, razor hand. Or
I know, but you can put some,
true, you can.
prosthetics on him and just make him look
plus that movie hasn't even been
different. But I feel like
forever, so it's not real.
Exactly. So I feel like he fits that character properly. And honestly, similar to the PS5 game that's coming out soon, I'd like to have Kraven not only hunt just Spider-Man, but have other Spider-Man characters in New York. Have him go out, like characters like Black Cat that were already established in the last movie, maybe even the Prowler, which would be a cool setup for the next trilogy later on to then eventually pass it down to a live-action Miles. I feel like just having those characters be incorporated, not like right in your face, have it just be kind of like a little, Easter egg or just little side notes like, hey, this character, it does exist in this universe. We're going to do something with them eventually, just not in this trilogy. So that's kind of what I want from it. And having Kraven try to hunt these guys down would be kind of a cool thing to see. So that's kind of my overall thing.
What a trilogy.
I would just like to point out, you brought up that actor, so I Googled him before you said that who it was, and I knew who it was. And something came up about him being in Creed and Drago. This says on here that Ivan Drago, his father, was 100-0 with 100 knockouts. That is incorrect, as we all know. Rocky Balboa famously beat him in Russia. So I just want Google to get that right, that he's not 100-0. That is incorrect. And I feel like this is the right platform to bring that up.
Thank you. Thank you for that correction. We need that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Be better, Google.
I mean, you definitely went a lot more in depth than I know I went for sure. I'm assuming Josh as well. Guy even had the castings down, so shout out to you. The symbiote being the end of number 2 and then being the main thing of number 3, and we see Spider-Man going crazy. You might have seen that before, though, so they might want to try to rework that storyline a little bit in the exact order of it being at the end of the second one and then being the main thing of the third one. But, I liked a lot of what you said there. That'd be pretty cool. Cool.
Had a lot of similarities of characters I wanted. Like, I would say what I want that's a little different from what you want for the first film is I want Mr. Negative as well, but I was thinking he would be the second film big baddie, you know what I mean? So he's a little more important. And then the first one, it has to be a setup. The first one is going to be a setup film, whether we like it or not, it has to be. So I was thinking more of like Rhino being the villain in that one. He's got to take on Rhino by himself. Be cool to see Rhino be done right, as we really haven't seen him. So I thought that'd be a cool villain for him to take on, as well as you would see like the college pressures, and it'd be more about Spider-Man in that film and not as much worrying about setting up like a villain like Mr. Negative, where us fans would really want him to be properly done and have more focus on him, kinda. While this one has to be just like, okay, what's going on with Peter Parker? And then Rhino can just be that like villain, like, okay, yeah, there's going to be some cool scenes there, but like he's not that big of a deal. Let's just be honest with that. And then I was thinking in the first film, Black Cat would also be introduced because, we're saying MJ is out of the picture. So now we can explore more of those characters within the first film. You know, Peter's just exploring New York, and then that's how runs into Black Cat, etc., and runs into Rhino, blah blah blah. You know, that's the way it's introducing these characters, and it's more of a focus around Peter himself. And then in the second film being Mr. Negative. However, do I think at all would that ever actually happen? No, because I think Kingpin's going to be forced into the first film, and that's going to be ass when it comes to Kingpin. I do not want Kingpin even touching Peter, even though it's great having Kingpin when it comes to Peter Parker. But we just know that he's already been going to be established as Daredevil's guy, especially with how they're doing it. So it's just not going to work, and it's going to be awkward if they try to have it where Kingpin's like this bad guy for both of them. I mean, maybe it'd be cool, but we all know it's not going to work like how we want. Especially with how, at least in my opinion, Kingpin has already been introduced with Hawkeye. I just did not like that.
Hear me out with that. We know Kingpin is in the new Daredevil 27, 24, way too many episode Daredevil show that's going to suck. What if they fix Kingpin in that, and the way that ends is Kingpin kills Daredevil? Then Kingpin is actually more of like a threat, and then he can be on a Spider-Man's level. Because let's be real, Daredevil, nothing compared to Spider-Man. In terms of Kingpin, way rather see Kingpin and Spider-Man. So what if they use Daredevil to make Kingpin badass, and then we see Kingpin in Spider-Man, but he's a cool Kingpin.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely felt like when it comes to how Kingpin's done, it's like, I don't know, you would want him more associated with Spider-Man than Daredevil, but then since the show came out, it's kind of like how CW did with Arrow, or Arrow basically just kept stealing Batman villains, you know, and then turning into Arrow's villains. Yeah. So that's kind of the vibe there, but now you're bringing back the same characters. You're not going to be able to just like disassociate that established beef they got already of it really being Daredevil's villain. I definitely doubt he would die, though. That'd be crazy. That'd be an awesome thing. You would not expect that. But no. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's tough to fit. Where would Kingpin fit? And possibly, I mean, just because of how it's casting and everything, he would have to fit in the second film, even though I'd rather it be Mr. Negative. And then in a third film, maybe then you do actual Kingpin, and then you have the symbiote suit, Peter Parker, and you have him just go berserk on Kingpin. That is an absolute great comic panel that they can easily pull from, because that actually happened in the comics with Peter just losing his shit and then beating the fuck out of Kingpin. So that would be dope, but just no way that with how the time goes that Kingpin, an actor, is going to wait 3 full movies till he's involved and be the main guy. I mean, that'd be the best way to do it, in my opinion, but that's not going to happen. So at least that's what I want. Definitely, MJ, don't come back till second film, at least. Black Cat and Rhino first film. That's my hopes.
Okay, I like that. We're kind of in the same, area of we all want this to be a much more grounded Spider-Man based Spider-Man trilogy. I agree with you guys. I don't want him to contact and get help from outside Avengers. I don't want cameos from, a Daredevil or whoever. Like, we just want Spider-Man to be Spider-Man, and I want the first one to focus on that, like you said. I want that to be a heavy Peter Parker trying to deal with the issues of, at the end of No Way Home, he was doing, like, his GED, so I want to see, like, him potentially in a college and, like, working, a job and struggling, and then have some kind of lower type villain. Personally, I would be fine if we don't do anything with the symbiote. I mean, I think it could be done right. I don't have any confidence anymore that anyone can, because I think Sony has their hand too much still in it, that I just don't think it'll be well done. That they'll be like, oh, if you want to use the Venom symbiote, you're going to have to use some of our stuff. You're going to have to use our Kraven or bring Tom Hardy back or stuff like that. So I would prefer it just stay out of it completely, because I think Sony can't keep their hands out of it. So I would want the first one. I want an actual Sinister Six, and I want the first 2 to be built around that. So I would want the first one to be Scorpion, who we saw in Homecoming a little bit. We saw that already. I want him to play a role in it, and I want Scorpion and some kind of gang that we don't know who's running that whole thing yet to be like a big part of that. Kind of how Josh was saying for him it was the Rhino. For me, I just picked Scorpion just because we already seen him a little bit, so I just think that'd be cool to bring him back. And then maybe the second one is when you get more of a Sinister Six thing, and I want them to be all led by Oscorp, and finally we get Norman Osborn and Oscorp back. And then I want the third one to be more based around an Oscorp. Not obviously we had Willem Dafoe come in and they had, that's a different Oscorp. I want the third one to be based about the Sinister Six that was taken care of in the second one was all funded and all because Oscorp was behind it. And then the third one is focused on some kind of Oscorp. Either if you want to do the whole, Green Goblin is going to be hard to do again because of how good Willem Dafoe did it. But that's personally what I want. I just want it to be Sinister Six based, Spider-Man based. That's what I care about.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I feel like we keep getting teased about a Sinister Six, and I think it'd be cool. And again, they kind of did it in No Way Home a little bit. They teased I just want to actually see it.
Especially
I just think it'd be
Morbius
fun.
comes.
I think it's a very for sure. I'm thinking like Craven, definitely get him in there. He was
Morbius,
so cool in that trailer.
Vulture.
Mini movie, right? That whole group. I just personally, I don't want the symbiote involved, just because I don't think Sony can keep their hands out of it. I think if you involve the symbiote in Venom, I think it's going to go downhill.
That's fair. I definitely think we all can agree. Just no Tom Hardy Venom involved in any of this. Yeah. We're good with that.
I think there's a lot. Stick in New York. That's another big one. And keep other people out of it. Let him be Peter Parker. Like you said, we don't need MJ and Ned for him to be pushing for them so hard. Let us just be Peter Parker. He's trying to hide his identity. He's trying to make it through New York. The first one, like Alex said, be sadder, be more. He's all alone. He's broke. He's in New York. Like, let's just get that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need it to be an Avengers level threat all the time. Like, let's just have some grounded New York City crime issues that Peter Parker is struggling to handle as Spider-Man, as well as be Peter Parker.
I think we're all in agreement, which is a little weird. But
yeah, I mean, casting, if I had to cast real quick,
scenes,
I would say I would love to see Norman Osborn played by like an Adam Sandler type guy. I just feel like he could really fill in that role really nicely.
Yeah.
You serious?
Yeah, Black Cat, maybe Bella Thorne,
I would like
just
that.
to dig at Zendaya even a little
Smart.
more.
Maybe if like we're doing Sinister Six, maybe Rhino. I know Dwayne The Rock Johnson right now is kind of looking for something to really revive his career. I think he could do Rhino.
Some roles. Yeah.
I think you
Vin
could, if
Diesel.
we're doing a Sinister Six route, maybe you could do the two of them as, give them each a role.
That is destiny fulfilled.
I think our final thoughts is we're all in agreement. Let's just keep MJ and Ned. They had some moments, but let's just keep them out of it. Let's see Peter Parker, and let's stay in New York, and let's stay grounded. That's the real thing I think we all kind of agree on. Just stay grounded. No Way Home and Far From Home were cool and all, but if we're being real, Homecoming in terms of Spider-Man movie is better than those two in terms of actual Spider-Man. But I think that's probably going to do it for this video. As always, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below what your thoughts are, or what you hope if we get a Tom Holland second trilogy, what your thoughts are on that. And as always, see you guys in the next one.